Hi everyone, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video we're going to look at the video solutions to the Corbettmaths practice questions on percentage change. If you need any extra help on percentage change, if you go to the videos and worksheets section of the website and scroll down to video number 233, there's a dedicated video tutorial there on percentage change. Alternatively, you could scan this QR code. But in this video we're going to focus on the video solutions to the practice questions, so let's get started. Okay, so question number one. Question number one, it says the price of a TV is £260 and in a sale the price is decreased by 20% and we've been asked to work out the price of the TV in the sale. So this is a non-calculator question and we need to decrease the price of the TV by 20%. So we just need to take how much the TV costs, £260, and decrease it by 20%. So let's find 10% to begin with. So let's find 10%. So to find 10% of a number, you divide by 10. So we're going to take 260 and we're going to divide that by 10. So that'll just be 26. So that means that 10% is 26. Now it's decreased by 20%. So we find 10%. So now let's double that to get 20%. So 20%, that'll be double 26. And double 26 is 52. So that means that 20% is £52. So that means the price is decreased by £52. So we're going to take the 260, we're going to take away 52, and that's going to be the price of the TV in the sale. So 0 take away 2, well, let's borrow, so that's now a 5 and a 10. 10 take away 2 is 8, 5 take away 5 is 0, and then 2. So the price of the TV in the sale is £208. So that question is just reducing the price of the TV by 20%, and the answer is £208. Okay, part B. Part B, now this is a percentage change question because it says work out the percentage increase. And remember, if you ask for percentage change or percentage increase or percentage decrease, percentage profit, percentage loss, we'll use change over original times 100. So here we've got the number of TVs sold increased from 70 to 98. Work out the percentage increase. So we're going to do the change divided by the original, and then we're going to times by 100. So the change, so what did it go up by? Well, it went up by 28. The change is 28, so it went up by 28. So the change is 28 divided by the original, which is 70, and then we're going to times that by 100. And then whenever we do that, then we'll find the percentage increase. Okay, so this is a non-calculator question, so I'm going to cancel down this fraction. We've got 28 over 70. Well, if we simplify this, both of these numbers are divisible by 7. So if we divide them both by 7, what do we get? Well, 28 divided by 7 is equal to 4, and 70 divided by 7 is equal to 10. So that's 4/10. So we're going to do 4/10 times 100. Now you could cancel down again to get 2/5. So that means that 28 over 70 is equal to 2/5. So we're going to now work out 2/5 times 100. And to work out 2/5 times 100, we're going to work out 2/5 of 100. Because if we work out 2/5 of 100, that'll be the same as 2/5 times 100. So to find 2/5 of a number, you divide by the bottom and times by the top. So 100 divided by 5 is equal to 20. And then times by 2 is equal to 40. So that means that 2/5 times 100 is equal to 40, because 2/5 of 100 is equal to 40, because we divide by the bottom, so 100 divided by 5 is 20, and then times by the top will be 40. So that's given us 40. So the percentage increase would be 40%. So you do change over original times 100, and then when you work that out, then that'll then help you find the percentage increase, which would be 40%. And that's it. Okay, let's do our next question, question number 2. So no, question number 2, it's a calculator question, which is quite nice. And it says the value of a painting rises from 120,000 to 192,000. Work out the percentage increase in the value of the painting. So we're going to do change over original times 100. And when we work that out, we can then find the percentage increase. So the change, what does it go up by? Well, it goes up by 72,000. And it's a calculator question. If you do 192,000, take away 120,000, that's equal to 72,000, which is the change. So the change is 72,000 divided by the original. Well, the original amount was 120,000, and then times by 100. And we can just type this into our calculator. So we can just get our calculator and type in 72,000 on the numerator, 120,000 on the denominator, and then times by 100. And then whenever you do that, you get that's equal to 60. So that means that the percentage increase in the value of the painting is 60%. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 3. Okay, so question number 3, it says a puppy weighed 2 kilograms and 8 weeks later the puppy weighed 3.5 kilograms. What's the percentage increase in the puppy's weight? So we're talking about the weight of the puppy here, and the weight has gone, or the mass of the puppy, has gone from 2 kilograms up to 3.5 kilograms. So remember, we're going to do the change divided by the original times 100. So the change, what's the change? Well, it goes from 2 kilograms up to 3.5 kilograms. So the change is 1.5 kilograms. It increases by 1.5 kilograms. So the change is 1.5 kilograms, so 1.5, divided by the original, which in this case is 2. That's what the weight of the puppy was to begin with, the original mass of the puppy. And then we're going to times by 100. So we're going to do 1.5 divided by 2 times 100. And then we'll see what we get. That's a calculator question, so we can just type that into our calculator. And when we do that, we get an answer of 75. So that means that the percentage increase in the puppy's weight is 75%. There's a 75% increase. And you can check it. If you work out 75% of 2, you get that's equal to 1.5. And then if you add it on, we get the 3.5. So that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 4. So question number 4 says, Peter's weight decreases from 80 kilograms to 64 kilograms. Calculate the percentage decrease in Peter's weight, or Peter's mass. So the percentage decrease in his weight. So his weight originally was 80 kilograms, and it's gone down to 64 kilograms. So the change, what's the change by? Now, this is a non-calculator question. So the change to get from 80 down to 64, it's going to go down by 16 kilograms. It's a decrease of 16 kilograms. So the change is 16. So the change is change divided by original times 100. So the change, what's the decrease? 16 kilograms. What's the original? The original is 80 kilograms, and then we're going to times by 100. So 16 divided by 80, well, this is a non-calculator question, so I'm just going to cancel down that fraction, 16 over 80. They're both divisible by 8, and if we divide both of them by 8, if we divide the numerator by 8, 16 divided by 8 is 2. And if you divide the denominator by 8, you get that's equal to 10. So that's equal to 2/10. And if you cancel that down again, that's equal to 1/5. So instead of doing 16/80 times 100, I'm going to do 1/5 times 100. And 1/5 times 100 is the same as 1/5 of 100. So if we work out 1/5 of 100, that'll be the same as that answer. So 1/5 of 100, well, we just divide by the bottom and times by the top. So we're going to take 100, we're going to divide by the bottom. So 100 divided by 5 is 20, and then times by the top is just 20. So that means that 1/5 times 100 is equal to 20. So that means that there's a 20% decrease in Peter's weight. And we can check that. His weight to begin with was 80 kilograms. 10% is 8. Double up to get 20% would be 16. And as you can see, his weight decreases by 16 kilograms. So that's right. His weight did decrease by 20%. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 5. So question number 5 says, Alice buys a book for £19.80. And a year later, she sells the book for £12.87. And we've been asked to work out the percentage decrease in the value of the book. That's a calculator question, so let's do £19.80 subtract £12.87. And the reason is, remember, to work out percentage decrease, we're going to do change divided by original, and then we're going to times that by 100. So I'm just working out the change here. What's the decrease in value of the book? So if we do £19.80, so 19.8 on our calculator, take away 12.87, that's equal to 6.93. So £6.93. So the value of the book goes down by £6.93. So the change is £6.93, 6.93, that's what it goes down by, divided by the original, £19.80, and then we're going to times by 100. So we could just type that into our calculator. And when you do it in your calculator, you get that's equal to 35. So that means there's a 35% decrease in the value of the book. The book goes down in value by 35%. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 6. So question number 6 says, in a sale, the price of a sofa is reduced from £2,500 to £1,840. And we've been asked, what is the percentage decrease? So to find percentage decrease, we're going to use change divided by original times 100. Okay, so the change, well, it's a calculator paper, so we can just do 2,500, take away 1,840 to work out what it went down by, the change. So 2,500 subtract 1,840 is equal to £660. So that means the change in value is £660. It goes down by £660. So the change, what it goes down by, is 660, divided by the original, which is 2,500, and then we're going to times by 100. And it's a calculator question, so we can just type in 660 over 2,500 times 100. And when we do that, we get an answer of 26.4. So that means there's a 26.4% decrease in the value of the sofa. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 7. So question number 7 says, the volume of soda in a can, or a fizzy drink in a can, is increased from 250 millilitres to 330 millilitres. And we've been asked to work out the percentage increase. So what's the percentage increase? So remember, to find percentage increase, we're going to do change divided by original times 100. So the change, well, that's what it changes by, what it goes up by in this case. So if we do 330, take away 250, that's equal to 80. So the change is equal to 80, so it's 80. Divided by the original, 250 millilitres, that's what it was to begin with, times 100. So we can just type this into our calculator, and we get an answer of 32. So that means the percentage increase is 32%, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 8. So question number 8 says, Sarah bought a TV for £250, and 3 years later she sold it for £180. And we've been asked to work out her percentage loss. So again, we're going to be working out change, the change divided by the original. So change of original times 100. Okay, so the change, well, as you can see, the price of the TV goes down by £70. You can do 250 take away 180, and you can see it goes down by £70. So the change is £70 divided by the original. So the original amount was £250, and then times 100. And then this is a calculator question, so you can just type this into your calculator. And if you do 70 over 250 times 100 in your calculator, you get that's equal to 28. So that means the percentage loss is 28, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 9. So question number 9 says, a car is travelling at 40 kilometers per hour, and the car then increases its speed to 56 kilometers per hour. Calculate the percentage increase in the speed of the car. It's a non-calculator question, where the speed goes up by 16 kilometers per hour, so the change is 16, divided by the original speed of the car was 40, and then times 100. So that's the change divided by the original times 100. Okay, now we just need to work this out. So let's cancel down our fractions, 16 over 40. We can divide both of those by 4, and that would give us, if we divide the numerator by 4, we get that's equal to 4. And if we divide the denominator by 4, that's equal to 10. We can actually half both of these, that's equal to 2/5. So that means that that's equal to 2/5. So we've got 2/5 times 100. And 2/5 times 100 is the same as 2/5 of 100. So if we work out 2/5 of 100, that'll tell us what 2/5 times 100 is. So we're going to divide by the bottom and times by the top. 100 divided by 5 is 20, and then times by 2 is 40. So that means that 2/5 of 100 is 40. So that means that 2/5 times 100 is 40. So that means the percentage increase is 40%, and that's it. Okay, so let's have a look at question number 10. Question number 10 says, Susan buys an antique for £120 and sells it for £216. Work out her percentage profit. Okay, so it's a non-calculator question, and we want to work out the percentage profit, so it's going to be change divided by the original times 100. So in terms of the change, well, let's find out what it changes by. So let's do 216 take away 120 and see what the change is. 6 take away 0 is 6. 1 take away 2, let's borrow, so that's now 11. 11 take away 2 is 9. And 1 take away 1 is 0. So it's going to be 96. So the change is £96. It goes up by £96. So 96 divided by the original, which is 120, times 100. Now, to help us work this out, it's a non-calculator question. I'm going to cancel down the fraction. So I've got 96 over 120. They're both even, so if I half both of those numbers, if I half 96, that's 48, and half of 120 is 60. We can half again, half of 48 is 24, and half of 60 is 30. Okay, so we've now got this. I'm going to divide by 2 again, so half of 24 is 12, and half of 30 is 15. And finally, 12 over 15, they're both in the 3 times table, so let's divide both of them by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So it's 4/5. So instead of 96 over 120 times 100, we've got 4/5 times 100. And to work out 4/5 times 100, we're going to work out 4/5 of 100. So if we work out 4/5 of 100, that'll be the same as 4/5 times 100. So to find 4/5 of 100, we divide by the bottom and times by the top. 100 divided by 5 is 20, times by 4 is 80. So that's equal to 80. So 4/5 times 100 is equal to 80. So that means the percentage profit will be 80%. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 11. Okay, so question number 11 says, last year a box of cereal had a mass of 500 grams. And this year the box of cereal has got a mass of 465 grams. So the mass of cereal in the box has gone down. It's actually gone down by 35 grams. You can see the decrease there is 35 grams. It goes down by 35 grams. That's what the decrease is. And the question says, work out the percentage decrease in the mass of the box of cereal. So you want to work out the percentage decrease. That's going to be the change, which is 35. It goes down by 35 grams. And as a calculator question, you could do the subtraction, see what it goes down by. Divided by the original, which is 500, times by 100. 35 over 500 times 100. And that's equal to 7. So that means there's been a 7% decrease in the mass of cereal in the box. So the percentage decrease is 7%. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 12. Okay, question number 12 says, Jose buys a box of calculators, 48 calculators, for £384. He sells the calculators for £9.44 each. Calculate the percentage profit. Okay, so he buys 48 calculators for £384 and then he sells them for £9.44 each. So to start off with, I'm going to work out how much he makes by selling the calculators. So he sells them for £9.44 and he sells 48 of them. So if we do £9.44 times 48, that tells us how much money he receives for selling the calculators. So £9.44 times 48 is equal to £453.12. So he receives £453.12. Now he buys the calculators for £384. So if we take what he bought them for away from what he sells them for, then that tells us the profit. So that tells us the change. Remember, we're doing the change divided by the original times 100. So we want to find the change, or in this case, the profit. So if we do 453 and 12p, £453.12, subtract £384, that'll tell us the profit. So take away 384 is equal to £69.12. So that means the change, what it's gone up by, is £69.12. So that's going to be the change, £69.12. Divided by the original, that's what he bought them for, £384, times 100. And if we work this out, that'll help us find the percentage profit. So 69.12 over 384 times 100 is equal to 18. So that means that the percentage profit is 18%, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 13. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 13. So question number 13 is a non-calculator question. It says, Holly bought a table for £80 and she sold the table for £108. Find the percentage profit. So we need to find the change and then divide by the original and then times by 100. Okay, so in terms of the change, well, that's what it goes up by. So in this case, it goes up by £28, so 28. Divided by the original, so the original, she bought the table for £80, times by 100. Okay, now let's cancel down this fraction because it's a non-calculator question. So 28 over 80. So both of those numbers are even, so we're going to half them both. So that's 14 over 40. I'm going to half them both again, so that's going to be 7 over 20. So we've got 7/20. So that's going to be 7/20 times 100, just cancelling down that fraction. So we've got 7/20 times 100. So I'm going to work out 7/20 off 100. Okay, so to find 7/20 of 100, we divide by the bottom and times by the top. 100 divided by 20 is 5, times by 7 is 35. So that means that 7/20 times 100 is 35. So we've been asked to find the percentage profit. That's going to be 35%, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 14. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 14. So question number 14 says the population of Northern Ireland in 1911 was 1,256,561. In 2021, the population was 1,903,175. And the question says to calculate the percentage increase and to give our answer to one decimal place. Okay, so to work out the percentage increase, we're going to work out the percentage change. That's going to be change divided by the original. So change over original times 100. So in terms of the change, well, let's subtract the population to see what the change is. So 1,903,175, subtract 1,256,561. And luckily it's a calculator question, so we could do it without a calculator, but just take a bit more time. So whenever we work this out, we get an answer of 646,614. So that's the change. That's what the population goes up by. So the change is 646,614 divided by the original. So the original population in 1911 was 1,256,561. And then we're going to times by 100. So let's work this out. And that's equal to 51.459 and so on. Now the question wants a percentage increase, but to give our answer to one decimal place. So our answer will be 51 point and then 45, so we're going to round up, so 5. So 51.5%. And that's it. That's how much the population has gone up by between 1911 and 1921. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 15. So question number 15 is about a house, and it says in 2018 the price of a house was £72,600, and in 2024 the price of the house had increased to £125,598, and we've been asked to calculate the increase in price of the house from 2018 to 2024. So again, we're going to do change divided by the original times 100. So in terms of the change, well, let's take away the values of the house, or the price of the house in the 2 years to work out the change. So we're going to do 125,598, subtract 72,600, and let's see what we get. And that's equal to £52,998. So that's the change. So the change is 52,998. Need to change that to 88. £98 over the original price of the house, which is £72,600, and we're going to times by 100. So whenever we do that, we get an answer of 73. So the percentage increase of the house is 73%, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 16. So question number 16 says a website had 140,000 views in March and it had 198,800 views in April. And we've been asked to work out the percentage increase in views. So again, we're going to be doing the change divided by the original times 100. So in terms of the change, that's what it goes up by. And if we do 198,800, take away 140,000, that's equal to 58,800. So that's the change, 58,800, divided by the original. So it had 140,000 views in March, that's the beginning, so 140,000, and then times by 100. So let's work this out. And that's equal to 42. So that means the percentage increase in views would be 42%. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 17. So question number 17 is a non-calculator question, so I'm putting the calculator down reluctantly, and we need to work out, it says in a sale the price of a toaster decreases from £50 to £39. That's quite nice, that original, just thinking about it in terms of whenever we do this question, that's quite nice. So we've got, it's gone from £50 to £39, and we've been asked to work out the percentage decrease in the price. So change divided by original times 100. So the change, what does the price change by? Well, it decreases by £11. So the change is 11 divided by the original, which is £50, and then times by 100. Now, this is actually quite a nice fraction because it's 11/50ths times 100. And remember, to work out 11/50ths times 100, or a fraction times 100, we could work out the fraction of 100. So we're going to work out 11/50ths of 100 and see what that is. So we're going to take 100, we're going to divide by the bottom. 100 divided by 50 is 2, and then times by 11 is 22. So that means that 11/50ths times 100 would be equal to 22. So that means the percentage decrease in price is 22%. The price goes down by 22%. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 18. So question number 18 says, Cian buys 12 litres of lemonade and he paid £8 for the lemonade. So he paid £8 for 12 litres of lemonade. And then he pours all the lemonade into 300 millilitre cups. And he sold all the cups of lemonade for 90p each. And we've been asked to work out his percentage profit. Okay, so let's first of all work out the profit to then work out the percentage profit. So in terms of the profit, he bought 12 litres for £8, so he paid £8 for the lemonade to begin with. That's how much he spent to begin with. And let's then work out how much money he brings in by selling the lemonade. So he pours them all into 300 millilitre cups. So 12 litres, in 1 litre, there's 1,000 millilitres. So 1 litre is 1,000 millilitres. So that means that 12 litres would be equal to 12,000 millilitres, just multiplied by 1,000. So that means he has 12,000 millilitres of lemonade. And he pours all the lemonade into 300 millilitre cups. So that means that we need to divide how much lemonade he's got by the volume of each of the cups, the capacity of each of the cups, to work out how many cups it would be. So we need to do 12,000 divided by 300. Now it's a calculator question, so that's quite nice. So we can just do 12,000 divided by 300. And that's equal to 40. So that means that Cian pours 40 cups of lemonade. So he pours 40 cups of lemonade and he sells them all. He sells all the cups for 90p each. So if we do 40 multiplied by 90p, I can actually change it to 0.9 because here we're dealing with a 0.90 if you want to, but 0.9 because we're dealing with pounds here. So I'm just going to change this into pounds. So that's 90p. So 40 multiplied by 0.9 or 90p is equal to 36. So he makes £36. £36 is how much he sells the lemonade for. Now we want to find the percentage profit. And I'm just going to change the colour of ink here to blue just to help us see what we're doing here. So to work out percentage profit, we're going to do the change divided by the original times 100. So the change, what does it go up by? So to get from £8 to £36, we would add £28. Or if you do 36 take away 8, that's equal to 28. So the change is £28. So 28 is the change. 28, and that makes sense because here we're working out the percentage profit and he's made £28 profit, so the change is the profit, which is £28, divided by the original. He bought the lemonade for £8, so that's what goes on the denominator, and then times 100. So we just need to work out 28 divided by 8 times 100. So let's just do it on our calculator, and I'm going to type that as a fraction, 28 over 8 multiplied by 100. And that's equal to 350. So that means we've been asked to work out the percentage profit. The percentage profit is 350%. And that's it. And that's going to be a 350% profit. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 19. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 19. So question number 19 says an empty bucket weighs 800 grams and the weight of the bucket increases to 2.1 kilograms when filled with water. Calculate the percentage increase in weight of the bucket and to give our answer to two significant figures. So we're trying to find the percentage increase. So percentage increase, we calculate that using change divided by original, change divided by original times 100. Okay, so in terms of the change, well, the empty bucket weighs 800 grams and the weight of the full bucket is 2.1 kilograms. As you notice here, one's in grams and one's in kilograms. So let's change them to the same units. We could change the 2.1 kilograms to 2,100 grams, or we could change the 800 grams to 0.8 kilograms. We could use either one. I'm going to actually change them both to kilograms. So the empty bucket weighs 0.8 kilograms and the weight of the full bucket, whenever it's filled with water, is 2.1 kilograms. So let's work out the change, what it goes up by. So if we do 2.1 take away 0.8, that's equal to 1.3. Now it is a calculator paper, so you could do that on the calculator if you wanted to, but it's actually quite straightforward. 2.1 take away 0.8 would be 1.3. So change, that's 1.3, divided by the original. The original weight of the bucket in kilograms was 0.8, and then times 100. So we just need to do 1.3 divided by 0.8 times 100 and see what we get. So whenever I do it on my calculator, so 1.3 divided by 0.8 and then times 100, that's equal to 162.5. Now we've been asked to give our answer to two significant figures, so we're going to round this to two significant figures, so it'll be two digits followed by zeros, so that's going to be 160. And so that means our answer will be 160%. The percentage increase in the weight of the bucket to two significant figures is 160%, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 20. Okay, so question number 20 says, Orla weighed 3.77 kilograms when she was born, and on Orla's second birthday, she weighed 12.8 kilograms. Calculate the percentage increase in her weight. So we want to work out the percentage increase, so again, we're going to do the change divided by the original, change over original, times 100. So the change, well, they're both in kilograms, that's great, so we can do 12.8 subtract 3.77, and it's a calculator paper, so we can just type that into our calculator. 12.8 take away 3.77 is equal to 9.03 kilograms. So the change is 9.03 divided by the original weight. So Orla's original weight was 3.77 kilograms, 3.77 times 100. And it's a calculator question, so we just need to divide by 3.77 and then times 100. And when we do that, we get an answer of, that's equal to 239.522546 and so on. So that means the percentage increase to two decimal places, I'm going to round the two decimal places, would be 239.52%. And that's it. So question number 21 says that Rebecca and Jennifer take part in a training camp to improve their performance at the javelin. So they're doing the javelin, and the table shows Rebecca's and Jennifer's best javelin throw before and after the training camp. So before the training camp and after the training camp. And the question says, which athlete had the biggest percentage improvement? So we want to work out the percentage improvement. So it's going to be change divided by the original, change divided by the original, times 100. And if we work that out, that'll tell us the percentage improvement. So for each of them, let's write down the change. I'm just going to write down the change, what it changes by, or it goes up by, the improvement. So the improvement, if we do 50, and it's a calculator question, so 51.27 subtract 50.02 is equal to 1.25. So Rebecca's javelin throw increases by 1.25 meters, so she can throw 1.25 meters further than she could before the training camp. And in terms of Jennifer, if we do 46.92 subtract 45.88, that's equal to 1.04. So if we have a look at the change, you can see Rebecca's got a bigger change, but will that be a bigger percentage change? Because we need to divide by the original and then times by 100. So let's write down here Rebecca. So Rebecca We're going to do the change, which is 1.25, divided by the original, which is 50.02, and then times by 100. And let's see what we get. So 1.25 divided by 50.02 times 100 is equal to, and that's equal to 2.499 to 3 decimal places. So in terms of Rebecca's percentage improvement, it would be 2.499%. So that's Rebecca's improvement. Let's have a look at Jennifer's improvement. So Jennifer, the change was 1.04. The original was 45.88, and then times by 100. Okay, so we just need to work this out in the calculator, and when we type that in, we get that's equal to 2.2667 and so on. And let's round that to 3 decimal places as well, so that'll be 2.267 to 3 decimal places. So that means that Jennifer's percentage improvement would be 2.267% to 3 decimal places. So as you can see, Rebecca's improvement was 2.499%, whereas Jennifer's was only 2.267%. So that means that Rebecca had the biggest percentage improvement. So let's write that down. And that's it. Rebecca had the biggest percentage improvement. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 22. So question number 22 says that Terry goes to the post office to exchange money. And these are the exchange rates. So £1 gives you $1.55, and that £1 gives you €1.24. And there's also commission charged. And Terry changes $651 and €161.20 into pound sterling. And the post office deducts their commission and gives Terry £528. And the question says, what's the percentage commission? Okay, so let's change these amounts, these dollars and euros, into pounds and see how much he should have been given by the post office. So if we change the dollars into pounds, well, £1 is equal to $1.55. So if we divide 651 by $1.55, we'll see how many pounds Terry should have got. So if we take 651 and divide it by $1.55, that'll tell us how many pounds Terry should receive for those dollars. So 651 divided by 1.55 is equal to 420. So he should have received £420 for those dollars. In terms of the euros, £1 is equal to €1.24. So if we divide the number of euros by €1.24, that'll tell us how many pounds he should have received for those. So 161.20 divided by 1.24, and let's see how many pounds he should have received. So 161.2 divided by 1.24 is equal to 130. So £130. So Terry should have received, if there was no commission charged, he would have received £420 for the dollars and £130 for the euros. So if we add those up, let's see how much he should have received in total if there was no commission charged at all. So if we add these two amounts together, that'll be equal to £550. Okay, so Terry should have received £550, but he only received £528. So let's work out the percentage commission. So we're going to do the change divided by the original, how much he should have received, multiplied by 100. So the change, how much does it change by? So if we do 550, take away 528, that's equal to 22. 550 take away 528 is equal to £22. That makes the change, in other words, what it's going down by is £22, the commission, what he was charged. So the change, let's scroll down a little bit here. The change, what it changes by is £22, divided by the original, what he should have received, which is £550, and then multiplied by 100. And let's work this out. So 22 divided by 550 multiplied by 100 is equal to 4. So that means that Terry was charged 4% commission. So that means the rate of commission is 4%, and that's it. So 4%. So in terms of this question, just to recap what we've done, we took the number of dollars that he had and changed it into pounds using the exchange rate to see how many he should have received, and likewise for the euros. So if there was no commission, he would have received £550. He received £528, so we worked out the change, what it went down by, and then we worked out the change divided by the original times 100, and we worked out that the rate of commission was 4%, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 23. So question number 23 says the number of visitors to a museum in 2023 was 6.2 times 10 to the power 5. So that's in standard form. And we're going to do this question in two different ways. I'm going to do it in standard form to begin with, and then I'll change it to ordinary numbers, and we'll have a look at it that way as well. And then in 2024, the museum had 7.8 times 10 to the power 5 visitors. And the question says calculate the percentage increase. And it's a calculator question. So what I'm going to do is to work out the percentage increase, we want to work out the change and then divide that by the original and then times by 100. And that'll tell us the percentage increase. So the change, we'll do 7.8 times 10 to the power 5 and then subtract 6.2 times 10 to the power 5. Just use my calculator to do that. And that gives me 160,000. So the change is 160,000, or in standard form it would be 1.6 times 10 to the power 5. If you take those away, you get 1.6 times 10 to the power 5. Or you could write 160,000. So that's the change divided by the original. So what was it? It was 6.2 times 10 to the power 5. And then times by 100, because we want to work out the percentage change. So if we divide by 6.2 times 10 to the power 5, if we divide 1.6 times 10 to the power 5 by 6.2 times 10 to the power 5, and then multiply that by 100, and that's equal to 25.8064, and so on. And let's just round that. So I'm going to round that to one decimal place. To one decimal place, that'll be 25.8. So that means that the percentage increase would be 25.8%. And that's it. So there's a 25.8% increase in terms of the number of visitors. So that was one way to approach that question, is actually just use your calculator and do it in standard form. So typing it in standard form. Do be careful whenever you're typing this in standard form. So whenever you're typing this in, if you are using a fraction, that should be fine. But if you are using the divide by symbol here, I would make sure I include brackets whenever I type this in. So that was one approach. Another approach is actually to write them as ordinary numbers. So 6.2 times 10 to the power 5. We're going to move these digits 5 columns to the left. So if we move those digits 5 columns to the left, we'd have 6200000. So the 6 is moved from the 1s into the 10s, then the 100s, into the thousands, into the 10,000s, and then into the 100,000s. So it's moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns to the left, and the 2's moved 5 columns into the left as well. So it means that the museum had 620,000 visitors in 2023. It had 7.8 times 10 to the power 5 visitors. So those digits are going to move 5 columns to the left as well. So if that was 620,000, this would be 780,000 visitors in 2024. And now you can just do the question as normal. So you can do the change divided by the original times 100. The change is what it changes by, and if you subtract those values, you'll get that's equal to 160,000 divided by the original, which was 620,000, and then times 100. And then if you work that out, you're going to get that's equal to 25.806, and so on. And then that would mean that the percentage increase would be 25.8 to one decimal place, and that's it. The clothes shop normally sells their goods at 80% above the cost price. So they normally sell whatever they have at 80% more than whatever they bought it for. And in a sale, the shop reduces the prices by 25%. So whatever their normal selling price is, they reduce that by 25%. And the question says, what percentage profit does the shop make on the clothes sold in the sale? So as you can see, this question is a little bit different than the ones we've looked at so far. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend we've got an item of clothing, and let's just say the shop buys it for £100. So they buy this piece of clothing, whatever it is, perhaps a jacket, for £100. And normally they sell it for 80% above the cost price. So if we increase that by 80%, so if that increases by 80%, if it goes up by 80%, what would we get? Well, divide by 100 to get 1%, that's 1, times by 80, that's equal to 80. Add it on would be £180. So if something cost the shop £100 to begin with, they would normally sell it for £180 because that's 80% more. Then what would happen is then in the sale, they reduce the prices by 25%. So they reduce the prices by 25%. So they would normally sell at £180, but they're going to reduce that by 25%. So let's reduce this by 25%. So let's take away 25%. So it's a calculator question, but this one's actually quite straightforward. To get 25% of something, you divide it by 4. So if we take 180 and we divide it by 4, that means to half it and half it again. So that's 90 and then 45. So it's going to go down by £45. So if we reduce this by £45, we get that's equal to £135. So that means that the shop, if they bought a piece of clothing normally for £100, they normally would sell it for £180, but in the sale they're actually going to sell it for £135. And we were asked, what percentage profit does the shop make on the clothes sold in the sale? So we want to work out the percentage profit. You can actually look at this. Because we started with 100, we can see it's gone up by 35%. So it's gone up by 35%. So that means the percentage profit would be 35% because it's gone up by 35% to go from what they bought it for to what they sold it for. And that's why I chose 100 to begin with. Now, you could, if you wanted to in this question, do change divided by original times 100. So the change is £35. The original was £100 and then times 100. And when you work that out, you get 35. So that means the percentage profit would be 35%. And that'd be quite useful if you chose a different starting value other than £100. So perhaps if you let it be £50 and you've done this question with £50, then I would use change divided by original times 100 to work out that percentage profit. But if you let the original value be £100, it's quite straightforward to see what the percentage increase or the percentage profit is. And that's it. So let's take our next question, question number 25. Okay, so question number 25 says a hardware store sells 1 ton bags of sand for £56, and the owner of the store decreases the mass of the sand, so it decreases the mass of the sand in each bag by 40 kilograms. So 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms, 1,000 kilograms, a metric ton, and they're going to decrease the mass of the sand in the bag by 40 kilograms, so 40 kilograms, so they're going to reduce by 40 kilograms, so that'd be 960 kilograms. But they keep the price the same, so it's still going to be £56. And the question says, work out the percentage increase in price per kilogram of the sand. Okay, so let's work out the price per kilogram before they decrease the mass of sand, and then work out the price per kilogram after they've done that. So before they've done that, it was 1,000 kilograms for £56. So if we want to work out the price per kilogram, we're going to divide the price, and I'm going to change it into pence here. So that's 5,600 pence. And we're going to divide that by how many kilograms there are, so that's 1,000, and that'll tell us the price per kilogram in pence. And whenever we work that out, that's equal to 5.6p per kilogram. So it means that each kilogram used to cost 5.6p. Now, the shop owner, he actually decreased the mass of sand in each bag by 40 kilograms, so he then gave them 960 kilograms for £56. Now we want to work out the price per kilogram then. So again, let's keep it in pence just because we're going to be dividing by 960. So that's 5,600 divided by 960. So whenever we divide the price by the number of kilograms, that'll tell us the cost per kilogram. So 5,600 divided by 960 is equal to 5.8333 recurring pence per kilogram. So we've now got the price per kilogram before the shop owner changed the quantity of sand they got, the amount of sand they got, and we've got the price per kilogram after he reduced the amount of sand in the bag. So let's work out the percentage increase, and I've just changed the colour of ink here to blue, so we're going to do the change divided by the original times 100. So the change, what does it change by? Well, whenever we do 5.833 recurring, take away 5.6, that's equal to 0.2333 and so on. So that means our numerator, our change will be 0.2333 and so on. Divided by the original, so the original price was 5.6p per kilogram times by 100. And whenever we do that, we get an answer of 4.1666 and so on. So that means the percentage increase in price of a kilogram of sand is 4.167% to 3 decimal places. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 26. So question number 26 says a museum sells 2 types of tickets. They sell adult tickets and child tickets. And then we're told some information. We're told in 2022, the museum sold 15,000 child tickets. And then we're told in 2023, the museum sold a total of 112,500 tickets. And then we're told between 2022 and 2023, there was a 300% increase in the number of child tickets sold. And between 2022 and 2023, there was a 125% increase in the total number of tickets sold. And we've been asked to work out the percentage increase in adult tickets sold between 2022 and 2023. Now, there's an awful lot of information in that question, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a table. And this table might just help me visualize the information. So we've got there's adult tickets, there's child tickets, and we're also told information about the total number of tickets sold. So I'm just going to make a table saying adult, child, and total. And then we've got 2022 and 2023. Okay, so were we told any of the values? Yes, we were told in 2022, I'm just going to change colour of ink here to red. We were told in 2022 there were 15,000 child tickets sold. So there's 15,000 child tickets sold. And then we were told in 2023, the total number of tickets sold was 112,500. So we've got those values. And then that's all the information we're told in terms of the number of tickets sold. Now, we're told some information in terms of the percentage increase, but that's the information we're told in terms of the number of tickets sold. Okay, so then we're told between 2022 and 2023, there was a 300% increase in the number of child tickets sold. Okay, so 300% increase. So a 100% increase means it doubles. So if, for instance, there was a 100% increase, there would be 30,000 child tickets sold. If there was a 200% increase, that means if 100% is equal to 15,000, 200% would be equal to 30,000, and an increase would put it at 45,000. But we want to work out a 300% increase. So if 100% is equal to 15,000, 300% would be equal to 45,000 times this by 3. An increase means we add it on. So if we add that on, if we add on 300%, that would be equal to 60,000. So that means there was 60,000 child tickets sold in 2023. So we've worked out how many child tickets were sold in 2023. Now, one thing I want to point out is we could have used multipliers here. So if we want to increase, for instance, by 7%, so if you wanted to increase by 7%, you'd have 107%, which is 1.07. So that's a multiplier you could use to increase by 7%. If you wanted to increase by 52%, you would then have 152, which is 1.52. So the multiplier is 1.52. If you wanted to increase by 100%, you would then have 200%. So your multiplier would be 2. If you wanted to increase by 300%, well, then you would have, if you had 100% to begin with, you increase by 300%, you'd have 400. So then your multiplier is 4 and so on. So you could have just multiplied by 4 there to find that 60,000. Okay, and then we're told between 2022 and 2023 there was an increase of 125% in the total number of tickets sold. So between 2022 and 2023 there's an increase of 135%. So if there's an increase of 135%, you're then going to have 225%, because this would be 100% what you started with, and you're increasing it by 125%, so you'd have 225%. So you'd have 225%. So this value has been increased by, it's gone up by 125%, and we'd now have 225%. So that means that the multiplier, if we wanted to go from here to here, the multiplier would be 2.25. To increase something by 125%, you'd multiply by 2.25. So if we want to go backwards and work out how many tickets were sold in 2022, we could just divide by that multiplier. We could divide by 2.25, because if you increase something by 125%, it goes up to 225%, and as a multiplier that's 2.25. And then if you want to go backwards, you could just divide by 2.25. So 112,500 divided by 2.25 is equal to 50,000. So that means there was 50,000 tickets sold in 2022. Okay, so this is fantastic. We can now work out how many adult tickets were sold in 2022 and 2023, and then we can work out the percentage increase. So to work out the number of adult tickets sold, we can just take the number of child tickets sold and take it away from the total number of tickets sold for that year. So we're going to do 50,000, take away 15,000, that's 35,000. And we're going to do 112,500, take away 60,000, so that'll be equal to 52,500. So that's fantastic. We've now worked out how many adult tickets were sold in 2022 and how many adult tickets were sold in 2023, and now we can work out the percentage change. So to work out the percentage change, we're going to do the change divided by the original times 100. So the change, what it increases by, so we're going to do 52,500, take away 35,000, and when we do that we get an answer of 17,500. So the change is 17,500 divided by the original. So the original number of adult tickets sold in 2022 was 35,000. So 35,000 times 100. And when we work that out, we get an answer of, that's equal to 50. So that means there was a 50% increase. So that means there was a 50% increase in the number of adult tickets sold between 2022 and 2023. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 27. So question number 27 says, James bought a house and the value of the house decreased by 20% in 2021. So it goes down by 20%. And then for 3 consecutive years, so 2022, 2023 and 2024, the value of the house increased. And each year the percentage increase, so these percentage increases were the same. So each of these percentage increases were the same each time. So for instance, if it went up by 5%, it went up by another 5% and another 5%. And then we're told the value of the house at the end of 2024 was 6.48% more than what he paid for it at the beginning of 2021. And then we're asked to calculate the percentage increase in the value of the house for each of the 3 consecutive years. So what's the percentage increase in each of these consecutive years? So what did it go up by in each of these years? Okay, so to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider the value of the house at the very beginning. Now I could let it be what the price of a house would be. What's that, like £200,000, £300,000, something like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it be 100 to begin with. And the reason I'm doing that is it just makes it a bit easier to work out these percentage increases and so on. Okay, so it was 100 to begin with. So that's it at the beginning of 2021. And then it goes down by 20%. So it goes down by 20%. So it's going to go down by 20%. And whenever it goes down by 20%, well, actually, if we use a multiplier, if it goes down by 20%, you'd be left with 80%. So your multiplier would be 0.8. So whatever you let the value of the house be at the beginning, I've let it be 100, you could have let it be 200,000 or something like that, you'd multiply by 0.8, and that would bring us to 80. So it's gone down by 20%. So the value of the house has gone down by 20%. And then for 3 consecutive years, the value of the house increases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply, it's going up, so I'm going to multiply by a certain value and multiply, whatever the multiplier would be, I'm going to multiply by it once. I'm going to multiply by that multiplier again twice. I'm going to multiply by that multiplier again 3 times, because whatever that increase would be, if it was 5%, you'd multiply by 1.05, 1.05, 1.05. If it was 9%, you'd multiply by 1.09, 1.09, 1.09. But we don't know what the percentage or the multiplier is yet, so I'm just going to call it y and y and y. But I do know that the value of the house at the end of 2024, the value of the house here, was 6.48% more than what he paid for it. But he paid 100 for it, or whatever you had at the beginning. So we're going to increase this by 6.48%. So for me, that's quite straightforward. That's going to be 106.48. For you, you may need to multiply it by 1.0648, and then that would increase whatever you started with by 6.48%. Okay, so actually we can make an equation here, because I know that 80 times y times y times y is equal to 106.48. So 80 times y times y times y, well, y times y is y squared, and times y again will be y cubed. So I'm just going to write y cubed, because 80 times y cubed, because it's y times y times y. And then that equals 106.48. Okay, so we've now got an equation. We just need to solve this, and then we can find y. That'll be the multiplier, and then we can work out what the percentage increase is in each of these years. So let's divide both sides of this equation by 80. We want to find out what y is, so we don't want this multiplied by 80, and we don't want the cubed. We're going to get rid of the 80 first, so we're going to divide by 80 and divide by 80. So 80y cubed divided by 80 would just be y cubed. And then on the other side, we have 106.48 divided by 80. That's equal to 1.331. So we've now got y cubed is equal to 1.331. We don't want the cube, so we need to cube root. And that means that y would be equal to the cube root of 1.331. Just getting rid of the cubed by taking the cube root of both sides. So it means that y would be equal to, if we work out the cube root of this, we get that's equal to 1.1. So it means the multiplier is 1.1, or 1.10. So that means if we multiply something by 1.10, we're increasing by 10%. Because if the multiplier is 1.10, we're increasing by 10%. So for each of those years, the value of the house goes up by 10%. And that's it. And you can check it if you start off with 100 and times by 0.8, and then times by 1.1, 1.1, and 1.1, you should get 106.48. And that's our answer, 10%. And that's it. So these have been the video solutions to the Corbettmaths Practice Questions on percentage change. If you need any extra help in percentage change, if you go to Corbettmaths and go to the videos and worksheet section and scroll down to video number 233, there's a dedicated video tutorial there on percentage change. Alternatively, you could scan this QR code, or at the end of the video I'll put an icon for the video tutorial on percentage change, and I'll also put an icon there for you to subscribe to Corbettmaths. And that's it. So I really hope you found this video useful. If you have found it useful, please like it and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can subscribe by just clicking subscribe, or at the end of the video there'll be an icon for you to click on. So thank you so much. Cheers. Bye.